I'm Alan Michaels. I live in Florida. I had 1979 Siren for 5 years. I looked into the specifications for the boat and I was very impressed with. And more research I made about the boat, more I really started to like it because the architects who designed it were, seemed to be very knowledgeable and had a really good background in boat building. So that was another thing that I found that I really liked about Siren, is that she was actually built by really great naval architects that actually came from that background of building boats. When I was a kid, I came from a definitely nautical background, and I was born and raised really close to the ocean, and I have a lot of sailing and nautical experience as a child growing up next to the Adriatic. But I haven't sailed, prior to sailing here, I haven't sailed probably for 15, 20 years, or maybe more. So my new life sailing experience started here in Florida about 7 or 8 years ago, like around 2012. An older gentleman who's actually a really good friend of mine, he has a house really close to here. He was looking for somebody to help him with his small sailboat project that he had. And he kind of advertised this in one of the groups. He said, I have this older sailboat and I would like to get it to some things that it needs fixed and all that, and then we could sail together and enjoy this experience. And I answered to his group post that he put, and we met and I saw his A16 sailboat, and I was very impressed with the setup and excitement that you could have with just having a small sailboat. From this experience, I went into the market to get my own smaller sailboat that I can actually relearn how to sail. And I wanted something that I actually will build my true sailing skills, like a sailing dinghy, something that you really have to sail, you really have to feel. So I got Catalina's 142, which was my sailing dinghy, and I sailed that for quite some time. And I even started cruising with it, but once I started cruising with Catalina, I realized it's way too difficult in this area, especially in the Keys, because there are no beaches that you can beach. It's all mostly mangroves, and it's very hard to do camping, and there's a lot of bugs. And so I knew that I needed something that has sleeping accommodations if I wanted to continue enjoying the sailing and cruising in the Keys and around here. For me, it was one of the huge criteria was for the sailboat to be light and easy to trailer, just from the car perspective. But then also, since I've sailed in the Keys quite a bit, I knew that it's very shallow. So if you really want to be able to enjoy all the islands without constantly having to worry about grounding and damaging the sailboat or having to spend many hours waiting for the high tide, it was very important to have as shallow a draft as possible. It just had 4 or 5 photos, and it looked much different than now. It had like a blue hull, and I mean, it's a really interesting story behind my Siren when it comes to the gentleman who owned it before me. It was his daughter who sold me the sailboat after the gentleman passed away. He was an older gentleman. He was retired, and he was kind of wanting to fix Siren up, the sailboat up. And I could see he started doing some work on it, but I think he was, aging, and he couldn't really keep up with it. So it kind of gives me a little bit of background story there, that I was able to take something that somebody wanted to do something with, and I continued. And when I saw the sailboat, when I got there, I realized that it was going to need work. When I got to the house where the sailboat was, and it was under like this little tarp, and it was covered with the leaves and covered with all kinds of stuff. But I looked at it and I really liked it. Just there was something about it that I was really attracted when I saw it, like the lines of the sailboat. And so the whole idea for rebuilding a whole sailboat was that I went sailing a few times with the rig that I had, and I went sailing to the Keys. And I had some failures, and I realized that if I really want to enjoy, and there were a lot of things that were kind of harsh, like I would cut myself on some things that were in a way, and there were a lot of things that weren't needed, you know, they were kind of in a way. And then also, everywhere I would go with Siren, in a gas station, in a harbor, or, you know, boat ramp, I would always get people always come and started talking to me about a sailboat, and they would kind of peek inside in the cabin and they would look around. And so that also gave me inspiration to, you know, make it nice, you know, to make it something that is, you know, appealing, you know, when you see it. Project was, I did it very fast. It was about 3 months from start to finish. It was a lot of hard work, but it was a labor of love, you know. I didn't feel like I was working hard and sweating or everything that I did. I just felt how nice it will be when we're out there and we can enjoy all these new things that I put on the boat, and, you know, clean up of the boat.
It's very cool.
Even little things like, you know, I remember we went a few times, I went with my son, and he would go swimming, and I didn't have a swim ladder on the boat. So just installing that swim ladder was so inspirational, because I knew that, you know, wow, this is something that he'll be able to use, you know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll be Siren owner for life. I don't think that I'll ever get rid of Siren, you know, because it's a very exciting boat, and it does everything. I mean, it's a cruising boat. Very easily you can cruise. Not necessarily ocean crossing, but coastal cruiser, you know. And simplicity of how easy it is to tow and take to different places is always going to have that appeal for me, you know, where on the drop of the dime I can take it to the west coast of Florida. I can take it, even I took it to Maine, all the way up there in summer. I could take it to Great Lakes, which is one of the places you went, and I may want to go there too, you know. And so many bodies of water that you're kind of doing the explorations of all these bodies and places where you can take it, and simplicity of it, you know, simplicity, and has that minimalist appeal, which is kind of the way that I want it to go, towards being more minimalistic rather than constantly wanting more and more and bigger, you know. It would be nice to have somehow, and I was even thinking about designing something for like a bulb at the bottom of the keel, you know. That would be great. It would give it a lot of stability, and it would still keep, you know, keep the weight really low down, which is another great characteristic that I like about Siren, is that it has a swing keel, so you have the weight that's going more and more down, so you have the center of gravity that's being really low, whereas shoal draft sailboats, you have to put a lot more weight higher, so you have to really load them up to get the same center of gravity that you have with the keel when the keel, you know, weight is down. So I think the only one that I know that compares to Siren is one of the early McGregor's Venture 16 or 17 or something like that. That had some similarities, but not. You can tell that this was more American design, where Siren has more European characteristics, you know. Venture, for example, has really low cabin. It's like, you know, the cabin is about this high, whereas, you know, Siren has a little more room inside for sitting, and it has definitely more of the European. And I've seen some videos, random things that I saw on the YouTubes, and I see in the background in Europe, in France, you see the sailboat that look just like Siren, you know, the design of the sailboat. So it is Canadian with the European background, because the designers are from Europe. They're Europeans.
Hey guys, we're on the boat. We got it in the water. We are going to the island.
Sailing on Siren was something that was a bonding experience, and still is. Even my son is 14 now. Even now when we go sailing together, I try to get him not to be on his phone so much, so we spend more time talking and reading and documenting that. And I go back thinking about my time with my dad and our times that we had in sailing and on the boat, and I always wish that they weren't only in my memories, you know, that it's something that was filmed. It would be so great to be able to watch, and maybe someday he'll be able to watch that, you know, and maybe his children are. Wow, this time taking the keel out has been very difficult. The videos are there to help others, and I get a lot of emails, a lot of comments, how did you do this, how did you do this, and I try to, and also with now the Facebook group that I try to be involved there too, you know. I wanted to help others. I wanted to grow small sailing community. It was kind of, it's been in decay, you know, since like 80s. Small sailing and small boat community has been really in decline.
Hey ho, little boat, round about the world we go, never headed home, la-di-doo-day-day.
So I wanted to share and show people that, you know, you can have so much fun, and it's so amazing to, even with a small sailboat, you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars and wait many years. You know, I'll do it someday, you know, you can actually do it right away. It's a double-edged sword because sailing, even simple sailing, does cost money, you know. Some things do have to be in order, you know, you can't cut corners with everything. Some of the posts that people ask, should I do this? And then you tell them, no, you shouldn't cut corners there, you know, that's really important.
Keep on moving till we stop. Here is my dress.
And mistake that I found, you know, that a lot of people that I talk to think is that it's really necessary to have, some people don't feel safe because it's a small sailboat. But a small sailboat is just as safe as a big sailboat, depending of course, what you're doing with it, you know. You're not gonna cross Atlantic on Siren, you know, and of course, good decision making, you don't want to go out there in a hurricane, you know. So this good decision making is always the basis of, you know, sailing. Coastal cruising, and it's just as safe as any other boat, you know.